What's going on YouTube? Back here with another video, and just a word of warning here. This is going to be a long video as I had quite the journey doing this process of accessing the hidden service menu, but I've really fought with myself about how I wanted to present this video because I wasn't sure if I wanted to just present the original recording as is and just leave it at that, or if I wanted to do it this way, which is to do a longer intro to the video that will include a summarization of my findings so that you will have a general understanding of what took place when I attempted to access the service menu that's hidden. And I'll leave it up to you if after I explain what all happened and my ultimate findings, I'll leave it up to you whether you want to continue and watch the rest of the video, which will be a step-by-step process of how I was able to access the service menu and what all took place when I made certain changes and the ultimate end result of said changes. So let me open things by telling you there were two basic questions that I wanted to answer during my process of recording that video. Number one, I wanted to see if by doing the necessary steps to get there, could I indeed still access that now hidden service menu and make the necessary changes that I want to make, similar to my game room TV, the 77C2. And number two, after making said changes, what happens after I initially turn the TV off and then reboot it? Were those settings that I just made on the last startup, would those same settings now still remain? Would the TV automatically just turn them off or change it back to the original default? Would I still be able to access the service menu by just hitting the Start button now and plugging in the code, which is the old method? Would I have to jump through all the necessary or the additional hurdles to get there? These are things that all kind of encompass under that number two question that I wanted to answer with this video. And I thought I would record a video showing you every step of the way, and I was walking in blindly. I did not know by doing these steps how it would play out. So you're going to get kind of my raw emotion, raw feedback of the process. But like I said, I want to answer those two questions for you in this intro so that you can make a decision whether you want to watch the process and how it played out. For the question of number one, could I still get there by doing the necessary steps to do it, which is past hitting Start? Yes, I was able to access the original service menu, and I was able to access the necessary settings to disable to get rid of that dimming. And the answer for number two is a complicated one because the surprises that I got along the way after getting to the part of the menu where you would normally make changes in there, the surprises that I encountered along the way were both shocking and extremely disappointing. So to kind of summarize things for you, if you only wanted to watch this part of the video and you've been kind of holding off either upgrading the OS on your C2 or G2 to begin with, or number two, if you've already done that step and now you're looking for a way to get into that old service menu to turn certain things off, let me summarize it for you this way. If I had this to do over again, and I know now how it was going to play out, would I actually do this process over again? Absolutely not. Welcome into the video, welcome into the channel. Hope everyone is doing well out there. In today's video, I'm going to be attempting to get to the part of the service menu that has been locked down since WebOS 23 came out and so on. And the reason why this is a topic, because recently LG has started pushing out updates to their C2 and G2 lineup, which came with WebOS 22, which has a different looking service menu than what has come on the C3, G3, and so forth. So in this video, I'm going to be looking to answer two questions. Number one, will I be able to find my way into the part of the service menu that is now hidden where I can go in and disable ASBL dimming? And the second question, which is probably more important, is if I'm able to get into that part of the service menu and turn off the settings that directly control ASBL dimming, what happens after I turn the TV off and turn it back on a while later? Will those settings stick? Will it reset itself? Will I have to jump through all the hoops to get back to that part of the service menu? That's what I'm here to find out today. Once again, I'm walking into this blindly. I have not tested this at all. I don't know if this will be a tutorial so much as you can follow me along during the journey and see what sort of hurdles I run into and if I'm able to succeed to the end goals here. So without further ado, let's get started. And the first thing you're going to need is one of these LG service remotes like this one here. And these can be found on Amazon. They're somewhere around $10 or so. I don't remember. I bought this one a couple years ago for even less money than that. The first step we're going to need to do is press this button up here at the top. It's called P only. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And it pops up a passkey you have to enter just like it would on the prior service menu. The code is actually the same. It's going to be 0413. Okay, so that kind of happened out of nowhere. It just rebooted itself, but it did tell me on the screen it was going to reboot. So anyhow, we're back. That lasted maybe 10 seconds or so, not too long. But what we're going to need to do from here is we're going to need to press the exit button. So we're going to go ahead and do that on the remote now. And from here, we're going to press the end start button. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And we're actually in the now hidden service menu. So doing those steps, I'm actually now in the official service menu where you can go in and change things. So, all right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head down to the number 12, which is where I access the settings to turn off ASBL. So I'm going to go down to 12, and the two settings you're looking for are called TPC enable and GSR enable. And what really catches me off guard here is that TPC enable and GSR enable are actually already turned off. And the reason why this is a big deal to me is because this is actually our bedroom TV that I just recently upgraded to the latest LG update that has WebOS 23. This is a 65-inch LG C2. You can probably see the model number in the top left-hand corner. I have never been in the service menu on this particular display. All of my prior videos where I talk about service menu and disabling certain things for dimming, that's on my game room TV, which is a 77-inch LG C2. So what I find interesting about this is that this new upgrade comes with TPC and GSR turned off. And this now makes me wonder something. There was a air quotes fix put out by LG not long after the C3 and the G3 were released. There was so much backlash coming about people not being able to enjoy their content, and when they would be on a prolonged scene where the lighting would kind of stay the same, or if there was something on the screen, the TV would really dim down and it would really distract people enjoying their content. And they put out a firmware update where it's claimed that that was fixed. For this WebOS that now matches the C3 and the G3, TPC and GSR are already turned off. I find this very interesting. So I jumped through the additional hoops to find this, only to get in here and find out that LG has already turned them off. So now that I see that TPC and GSR are already turned off, number one, this is going to let all of you out there that are watching this video know that you may not even have to get into your service menu and do these steps now, because from what I can tell, LG's already turned these things off. So you don't even have to do what I just did. So think of this video maybe as more of a PSA or an informational video now, instead of like how to get in and disable the ASBL. But if you're an explorer like me, you're a risk taker, and you really want to know like how to get in here and turn these off or make changes for yourself, etc., I'm going to go ahead and finish out the video by telling you how do we get out of this. And I'm still going to do the other test, which is I want to know what the TV does after I've shut it down for a while and turn it back on. I still want to see what that looks like. But if we are all done making changes in here, and let me put this little note out there, just because I go into the service menus on my displays, I make changes, that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily advocating that you do it, because you are assuming risk that if you get in there and you accidentally mess with a setting you're not supposed to, and you brick your TV, that's a possibility. If you get in here and mess with certain settings and you have to file a warranty claim down the line, it's possible you could have your warranty denied for being in here and making changes. So just want to put that out there. I'm not advocating you do this, but think of this as I'm taking the risk for you all. Okay. So in order to exit this factory mode, whatever they're calling it, that you're in to get into this part of the menu, What you're going to need to do from here is press the menu button, which it's dark in here now. You can't see it. Sorry. It's the button that's just to the right of the X Studio button. So you have those 4 buttons there. It's called menu. So I'm going to go ahead and hit menu. All right, once this screen goes dark, you're going to want to let it sit for about 30 seconds. After it's been 30 seconds, the step to get back out of this is to now take your regular LG remote, the Magic Remote, and hit the home button, which I'm going to do now. And the little pointer comes up. We'll wait to see it come, and there we go. I'm now back at the home screen, and I'm going to check some things while I'm here to make sure that nothing's drastically different. So let's hit settings. Okay, the little side menus here. All right, so the first thing I noticed right away is that things have been reset. So for example, my picture mode was on Filmmaker, and I had the pixel brightness down, I think at 35, because this is our bedroom TV and we're only watching in the dark, so I don't want the pixel brightness all cranked up. Basically what's going on here is once you go into that part, once you do this factory mode and you get into the service menu and you make your changes and you get out, things seem to be fine, but it does reset your picture mode. So be wary of that. If you need to kind of write down or take screenshots of your actual picture settings before starting this, I would highly recommend doing that because I was not aware that it would do this. So now I'm going to have to go back and change those. Now let's check the inputs, and it actually reset the input entirely. So think of what I just did as a way to do a full TV reset, because it looks like it's resetting everything back to as if I'm setting up the TV for the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and click on HDMI 4 and see what happens. This is where the Apple TV 4K is plugged into. All right, and here we are on the Apple TV 4K home screen, and I can tell you right now, this screen or this picture mode is all kind of jacked up. Again, I tend to keep this on Filmmaker mode, and this thing looks like it has super punchy colors and a cranked brightness. Let's check it. Hit the settings button. It put it on vivid. Okay, so it looks like if you have anything connected via HDMI to your C2 or G2, and you go in and do what I just did, it looks like it's going to reset your HDMI inputs for the picture mode. So you saw that on the home screen, it was back on auto power save, which is how it is out of the box. The first thing this is set on is vivid, which is, it's already burning my eyes out. So, you know, let's at least get rid of that, can we? Because, yeah. So let's go to picture here, select mode. I'm going to head back down to, it does still say user settings. Let's hope that my settings are still there. Okay, that's much better on the eyes in this dark room. Let's take a look around real quick in advanced settings and see if it didn't actually reset these. Brightness, yeah, so there's the brightness 35 I mentioned. You see the peak brightness off, BT 1886. We'll go down here and check color, and we'll go down to the white balance slider, warm 50. So, all right, so what I'm discovering here, and again, I'm doing this in real time. I had no way to know really what was going to happen here, but here's the way I would summarize this. If you decide to go into that factory mode, get into the hidden part of the service menu, make any changes, you can exit out just fine. You know, nothing bad happened to my TV doing that, but be mindful that your picture modes will like reset to vivid and auto power save depending on what's plugged in. But it does look like if you had it on Filmmaker, you know, sorry, let me go back in there real quick so I can kind of, so if you had it on whether it's Filmmaker or one of these expert settings or cinema, it looks like that will still be there and it'll say user settings. For whatever reason, when the TV comes back on, it resets itself to, you know, it could be standard. It's going to reset itself out of whatever you have plugged in here, it looks like. So just be mindful of that. But I'm happy to report that your actual TV settings are still there. You just got to go back and check the box again. So the video is not done yet. The video is not done. The second part of this, the second question that I said I wanted to answer was, what does the TV do after it's been off for a while and it's had a chance to completely power down? That's what I'm going to do from here. So I'm going to go ahead and power the TV down. I'm going to let it sit for probably like 30 minutes or so, really give it a lot of time to power down and be completely off. Then I'm gonna come back in the video, and in your time it'll be like 2 seconds. For me, it's gonna be like 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back on, and we're gonna see if A, I can get back into that factory mode or the service menu, and B, does it reset anything along the way? So let's get that started. Okay, so it loads back in, but I noticed that the picture settings look like they're back on Vivid. You have this factory mode thing just inching across the screen. Check out what's going on there. It says press in stop key to go to user mode. Press green key 7 times to go to the user mode, user remote control. All right, now that the TV is powered back on, I have this factory mode thing scrolling across the screen. The first step here is to figure out how to get rid of that. So I'm gonna press, it says press in stop. I'm gonna press the in start button and see if it lets me go back into the regular service menu. And it does. Okay, so unlike on WebOS 22, once you've gone in and done this factory mode, you can just press the in start button and you don't even have to hit the pass key anymore. Next step, I'm gonna go ahead for the heck of it and go back down to 12 and see what it says. And it still has TPC enable and GSR enable off, so that's good. Let me exit out of this, and the way to get out of the service menu, even if you have a C2, G2 on WebOS 22, is you have to hit the exit button, so I'm gonna do that. And this factory mode thing is still going across the top of the screen. That's not gonna fly. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get rid of that. It says press in stop key to go to user mode. Okay, so the in stop key is, well, again, it's dark in here. It's down here in the middle below the mute button. So let's see what happens here. I'm kind of nervous. In stop. Everyone watching this video, I'm gonna go ahead and make a very strong recommendation here, which is not to do what I did in this video. And here's why. In your time of watching the video, this was like 1 second from me going from pressing in stop to this screen right here. But in actual time, I didn't show you what happened. What happens after you press in stop is the TV turns off, and the next time you turn it on, it resets itself entirely. So I had to do the entire TV setup process from scratch, just like the day that I unboxed this thing. So as of right this moment, I'm gonna tell you that going into the service menu and the new lockdown service menu, getting in there, messing with settings, and then getting out is a hard pass. Do not do it. So while we're here, I want to check out some things, because the only thing I've done so far since this screen came back up is I told Apple TV I didn't want to try Dolby Vision. Let's get back into the actual settings, and that way you could see what this looks like. So you could see the mode is now auto power save, advanced settings, all this is going to be all screwed up again. Let's go to color, white balance. Here we are at cold 20. So literally it reset the TV, which means now I'm going to have to go back and reconfigure these settings for the nighttime content. So one last thing to check here, I'm really pissed off about this, but I did it to myself, right? I wanted to see what happens here. And the worst part about this is I did all those steps to get in there to find out that TPC and GSR are already turned off. I didn't even need to go in there and do it. But anyway, let's check it out. In start. Okay, it's asked for the passkey 0413. And we're back in the locked out service menu, So I'm gonna go ahead and press exit. So there you have it. Long video here showing you the steps to get in there, just to show you that TPC and GSR were already turned off by LG as part of their fix for the C3 and the G3. And you saw what happened when I came back. It's resetting the entire TV. So I hope you're still watching this video right now, because this is my way of letting you know, if you have a C2 or a G2, first of all, take your TV completely offline and don't even let it upgrade to this. But if you do, if you decide to go ahead and upgrade the OS because, let me grab the remote again, because you like, the convenience of the new side menu over here, which is cool. I do like this. It's more clean format, but if you have any concerns about ASBL dimming, and you want to go into the service menu and turn it off, that's a hard pass. Do not go into the service menu because you're going to be starting over from scratch, resetting up everything on the TV, which means I'm going to have to go back in here very likely and, do the stuff that I did at the very start. Kind of a failed, okay, let's just face the music here. This is a big time failed experiment. And while I did have fun doing this experiment and showing you what's going on in the video, it sucks. I was really hoping that I would jump through those hoops, get those things turned off, and then anytime I wanted to go back into the service menu, I could just hit Start, plug in the code, and get back into the hidden one, like on WebOS 22. And unfortunately, that's not the case. If I ever want to go back into the hidden service menu, I'm going to have to do those steps all over again. And you already know what happens on the other side. It's going to change the inputs to vivid and auto power save, and then you're going to have that stupid factory mode thing floating across the screen, which indirectly is going to force you to hit end stop to get rid of it. And then you know what happens. The TV resets. So maybe if I tinker around with this, because if I can get rid of that factory mode thing floating across the screen, that might be okay. This might not have been a complete failed experiment if I can do that, but I need to figure out if there's a way to get rid of that factory mode floating thing after you've done everything, other than hitting end stop. Can I hit the exit button? I'm probably going to jump through the hoops again and restart this and see if that's the case, because if it is, then it's not the worst thing in the world. When that pops up, you just hit the exit button and you should be good to go. So there you have it. I hope this video was entertaining. I hope it was informational. So some of you that were holding off and wanting to see what was happening, I hope this gives you a good idea of what to expect now, because it sucks. So that's going to conclude the video. If you did enjoy it, consider hitting that like button. It really helps out my channel. Hitting the like button helps get my videos circulated out to more people who might be wondering these same questions. And watching this video will help answer those questions and prevent people from doing what I just did. And then if you're not subscribed and you like what you've seen so far, you like my video content style, maybe you've checked out a couple other videos, consider hitting that subscribe button. And of course, if you subscribe, you might as well hit the bell so you don't miss my uploads coming up. But with all that being said, until the next one.